we're making a pork and green chili stew with the star ingredient, green chilies. So I started with a couple pounds of pork shoulder, cube it into bite-sized pieces. Again, you can use substitute beef chuck if you prefer. And I'm going to brown that in batches so that we can get that temp nice and high in the pot. A little bit of olive oil or neutral oil, oil that you can see through. And I dredged this lightly to help thicken our stew up a bit. I just pass it through some flour and season it liberally with salt and pepper. And in the drippings, to start lifting up all of that great flavor, we're going to throw in a lot of onions, and the onions get nice and sugary sweet. In order to sweat the onions or get them to give off their sweet juices, we're going to salt them liberally. Okay? And we're gonna throw in some Mexican oregano. Remember, whenever we use dried herbs, to lightly crush them in the palm of your hand, kind of wake them up. A palm full of coriander. And coriander's best friend, cumin. A palm full of cumin. A little black pepper. I actually like a lot of black pepper in this stew. Give this a stir. And for me, I add garlic to pretty much everything, and this is no exception. So I'm gonna throw in 4 fat cloves, and you can either grate that directly into the pot, if you have one of these little handheld grater things, or you can just crush it and throw it right in there. It'll break down, because this is a nice slow cooking stew. Those drippings are starting to come up because the liquids are beginning to come out of the onions now. So we're lifting up all that great flavor from the bottom of the pot. We also have Mexican oregano, cumin, and coriander, all working together quite nicely in this very, very simple stew. The star ingredient is, of course, the New Mexican or Hatch Valley, or just sometimes called Hatch chilies, these beautiful, long, skinny chili peppers. You can order them online and keep them in your freezer. You order them by the pound, and you can get them in mild, moderate, or hot heat levels. I use a mix of the mild and medium when I'm making this stew because you're really eating a pot full of chilies, essentially. So you need about 3 cups of chopped green chilies. Poblanos have a moderate heat level, and all we do to poblanos is, if you have a gas top stove, char them right on the burners over the open flame. If you do not have a gas top stove, char them under your broiler on high, but leave the oven door slightly ajar so the steam can escape the oven as the peppers char. Then we're gonna put them into a bowl so that you can cool them to handle them. That's this state here. Wipe off the char and split the pepper and chop it. This is a peeled chili here. Now, if you want to dial back the heat in any chili pepper, remove the seeds and the guts. If you like spicier food, leave that in there. That's where heat lives in chilies in general. We add our chilies. And now I'm really getting all of that great color and flavor up off the bottom of the pot. And we're gonna add in some potatoes. I just scrubbed some thin-skinned white or Yukon Gold potato. And about a quart of stock or bone broth. And you're gonna let this cook low and slow on the stovetop or in the oven until the meat becomes tender. A couple of hours, depending on how big you cut the cubes. Okay, so just like with the charring of chili peppers, if you have a gas top stove, you can char your corn tortillas, which is what's traditionally served with the green chili stew. This is just green chilies, potatoes, and pork or beef. It's so flavorful and fabulous and so easy. Anybody could prep this in moments, and you slow cook it until the meat's tender for a couple hours. The house smells great. It's low maintenance and delicious. You might want to make a double batch because it freezes beautifully. Oh man, crazy. Like a little bit of scallion or green onion on top, a little bit of cilantro or parsley if you're not a huge cilantro fan, a little squeeze of lime, boop, and then a little Mexican crema or sour cream. Let me get it going.